All right. Do it again here. Let's give it a shot. See if we can get this thing going here. Jesus Christ. And bye. The Epstein files continue to crumble the foundations of an old world loosely strung together by its anointed Luciferian power broker. Connections to Saudi royalty have surfaced, while Epstein being authorized to land at UK Royal Air Force bases has the British government scratching its head.
But who, if anyone, is following up what we now know from one email that I discovered, which is short, but brings in the Children's Investment Fund, of which Rishi Sunak was a partner. The advisor that sent it, who then goes on to also advise Sarah Ferguson, who is given a royal appointment from Mum, the Queen, for some sort of role that we don't know of, who the next day jumps on a plane to China to arbitrate a trade deal that is facilitated with Prince Andrew, who, as we know, then goes on to take probably a wholly different group of Chinese people into royal palaces before we find out that they are not who they say they are.
The cold case of Alyssa Dimitrieva pops back up to the surface. A 17-year-old Latvian teenager went missing in August of 2011. A dog walker stumbled across her badly decomposed, partially clothed remains on the Queen's private Sandringham estate in Norfolk, prime royal hunting ground, the kind of place where the Windsors go to shoot pheasants and escape the spotlight. Police immediately launched a full-blown murder probe. Evidence piled up. Phone pings placed her last signal near Sandringham. 2 men were in custody, yet no charges, ever. Now under scrutiny as the British royal family squints in the spotlight.
There are villages within this estate, so it is open to the public in many places. Only around the house is it very private and secure. And this happened about a mile away from the main gates to the house, so it is in the Queen's backyard, you could say.
In Norway, across the pond from the UK royal demonic pedos, Crown Princess Mette-Marit's son, Marius Borg-Høiby, is on trial in Oslo, facing 38 charges, including 4 counts of rape, aggravated assault, threats, non-consensual filming, and more against multiple women from 2018 to 2024. Newly released Epstein files expose hundreds of emails between Crown Prince Mette-Marit and the Mater D of Satan from 2011 to 2018, chatting about island visits for her family, her boredom with royal life, and topics like adultery and suggesting naked women pics as wallpaper for Marius. And right on cue, because she assumes she is above the peasants, she publicly apologizes for her poor judgment.
I just think it's extremely sad.
The Epstein files continue to crumble the foundations of an old world loosely strung together by its anointed Luciferian power broker. Connections to Saudi royalty have surfaced, while Epstein being authorized to land at UK Royal Air Force bases has the British government scratching its head.
But who, if anyone, is following up what we now know from one email that I discovered, which is short, but brings in the Children's Investment Fund, of which Rishi Sunak was a partner. The advisor that sent it, who then goes on to also advise Sarah Ferguson, who is given a royal appointment from Mum, the Queen, for some sort of role that we don't know of, who the next day jumps on a plane to China to arbitrate a trade deal that is facilitated with Prince Andrew, who, as we know, then goes on to take probably a wholly different group of Chinese people into royal palaces before we find out that they are not who they say they are.
The cold case of Alyssa Dimitrieva pops back up to the surface. A 17-year-old Latvian teenager went missing in August of 2011. A dog walker stumbled across her badly decomposed, partially clothed remains on the Queen's private Sandringham estate in Norfolk, prime royal hunting ground, the kind of place where the Windsors go to shoot pheasants and escape the spotlight. Police immediately launched a full-blown murder probe. Evidence piled up. Phone pings placed her last signal near Sandringham. 2 men were in custody, yet no charges, ever. Now under scrutiny as the British royal family squints in the spotlight.
There are villages within this estate, so it is open to the public in many places. Only around the house is it very private and secure. And this happened about a mile away from the main gates to the house, so it is in the Queen's backyard, you could say.
In Norway, across the pond from the UK royal demonic pedos, Crown Princess Mette-Marit's son, Marius Borg-Høiby, is on trial in Oslo, facing 38 charges, including 4 counts of rape, aggravated assault, threats, non-consensual filming, and more against multiple women from 2018 to 2024. Newly released Epstein files expose hundreds of emails between Crown Prince Mette-Marit and the Mater D of Satan from 2011 to 2018, chatting about island visits for her family, her boredom with royal life, and topics like adultery and suggesting naked women pics as wallpaper for Marius. And right on cue, because she assumes she is above the peasants, she publicly apologizes for her poor judgment.
I just think it's extremely sad. It's sad that we have people at the very top who think it's acceptable to associate with a convicted pedophile. I find that quite tragic.
However, Norway just slammed the door on elite impunity. Former Prime Minister Thorbjørn Jagland, an ex-Nobel Peace Prize committee chair and Council of Europe boss, has been charged with aggravated gross corruption over his deep ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein document dumps exposed emails showing Jagland arranging solo and family trips to Epstein's luxury spots in Paris, New York, and Palm Beach, even after the financier's 2008 conviction for soliciting a minor. Jagland showered Epstein with gifts, travel perks, and possibly loans tied to his influential positions. The Council of Europe has stripped his diplomatic immunity at Norway's request, clearing the path for the indictment.
It is a very serious suspicion, and the circumstances that have been uncovered must be taken very seriously. I'm glad that I live in a constitutional state where the prosecuting authorities take their responsibility seriously, and I will be careful not to get involved because it is their responsibility.
Meanwhile, back in the United States,
Goldman Sachs accepted the resignation of its chief legal officer, Kathy Rumler. Recent documents released by the U.S. Justice Department showed she accepted gifts from Epstein and advised him on how to address media inquiries regarding his crimes. Rumler is the most high-profile banking executive to depart after the release of the latest Epstein files.
still zero movement on the home team pedo elites. It's the same old protection racket, while the world continues to furiously crack the code. John Bound reporting for InfoWars.
All right, I'm here finally. Jesus, what a shit show! I gotta tell you, it's been a fucking excuse me. It's been a hell of a time getting in. We had every possible thing that could go wrong did today. Check my sound. I didn't do that because I was working on Rumble, and then we got a couple new ones. We got Kick, we got Twitch on here. Just seeing it, seeing if we get it to work out. But thank you for being here, man. Sometimes, Anyway, it's February 27th, 2026. Glad to be here. I was getting ready, and if you've been around for any length of time, it takes me, I've been in the office for hours getting ready for tonight's show, and my power goes out. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So I'm like, that's weird. And then it comes back on, and I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? It goes off again. I'm like, what the hell? So I go over to the panel. I have a sub panel in my office, and I can see it coming on and going off. There's like a loose wire in the wall. I'm like, oh, Jesus. So we had to do surgery on the wall. We was able to get the power, get the wire tightened back up in the sub panel, and then everything, the internet, I have to reset everything, and it shows it's good. So then I go to start, drops everything. So that's why I had a blank screen for I don't know how long it was, 10 minutes or something, while I was resetting the routers and all that shit, because it's not like, because I'm way out in the back, so I have to do repeaters to get power or get internet back here. So anyway, we're here. What the hell, man? And it's like, I'm not giving up because, like I used to, I'll just, say F it and go. So thank you for being here. We got a hell of a broadcast for you tonight. What are we going to get into though? That's the question. We have, a ton of stuff. We're going to cover the State of the Union. We'll cover that a little bit. I was listening to a a podcast this week, and they're kind of talking shit about Trump and how he was he bombed it and everything. So I didn't watch it. I was busy doing other stuff. I think I was pouring concrete that day, or that night I was doing reports from anyway. So then I went back and I watched it like the next morning, and I was like, that was actually genius of him. Everything that he did was a complete setup to show the American people what the liberal media, the liberal politicians, House, Senate, everything, what they really think about America, if you really think about it. What they blame it on, they don't like Trump. But when it comes down to it, they do not like America. And so they had all the different things, the little girl, the lady of cancer, and stand up if you want to get rid of illegal aliens to save America or whatever he said. And they all stayed sitting in their chair, and that tells you everything you need to know about the truth about what's going on in America and how it is. So that was brilliant. That was brilliant. His whole speech was brilliant. I'm going to give him credit, and I've been pissed at Trump for a while because of the things that are going on. Brilliant. That was good. So anyway, we're going to do a little bit of that, and then we got a bunch of other stuff we're going to get into. Whole system. We're working on. I want to apologize for last week. If you was here, I had the streaming system that I'm using, which I'm switching it by Monday. It'll be a new system because I'm changing the whole streaming software because it sucks. I didn't know we were going through the Epstein file documents on the web IO, and I guess the sound kept dropping. So, and we've had trouble with the sound for a few days. It's not my system; it's the streaming software. The streaming software keeps doing that. So I went online, did a little bit of research, and a lot of people have been talking about this particular software, and how it does that drop sound a lot. And we've been having trouble with it. And I didn't know until some of the people, the people that watch my show was able to come in. They texted me and they're, hey man, you lost sound like 3 times last night. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? So we're gonna scrap it. I was going with it today, but it's just not ready. I have to do some stuff to get it right. It wouldn't work rumble, this and that. And we want to make sure that we have all the channels when we roll, So the chat's up. You can get in the chat, leave me a chat, say hi or whatever, tell me I'm doing a horrible job, or, comment on the stuff that we're doing tonight. And let's see if we can generate something, whether you're on YouTube or you're new on Twitch or Kick, or whatever platform that you're on. We're working on. I got to figure out the locals app. For some reason, it's giving me some trouble. We're gonna get the locals in there for the subscribers, the one that pay for my content, and and I don't run a live show. I didn't know I couldn't run one, so I guess I can run a live show there. And then we're working on Spotify also. So, and then I'm sure Kick and Twitch will kick me off in no time because of my content, but we'll just give it a shot. Maybe they've loosened up a little bit and they're going to let us on. I've been posting a little bit of stuff on like TikTok to see if I can get some more people to the channel, and they haven't given me a strike yet. And, the Inspector Webb TikTok got crushed. I mean, I had like, they gave me 20 tries, but I had like 20 strikes, and finally they took the channel. So anyway, enough of that bull. Okay. So where we at? Here's where we're at. We're gonna just start with that. We're gonna get it right into it. Um, there's a lot going on, as you know, and you should know. Let me check something real quick. All right, so we got to get some people in here, because I don't know why nobody's here. Probably because they came in, the stream was all jacked up, so they got the hell out of here. And I don't blame them. I mean, that's what that if you want to get news and politics, that's what you want. You want somebody to be here, and that kind of sucked that it went like that. So let me. So if you could just tell people that I'm here now and we got it fixed, that'd be great. If you would be so kind to do that. Um, yeah, yeah, okay, sounds good. Get rid of that, then I can hear what I'm doing here. I'm going to go ahead and how's the sound right now, everybody? Am I doing is the sound working good? Let me know in the chat if you don't mind. I know there's people in the chat. Just let me know how it sounds before we get going. And if you don't mind, if I do crash, if my sound crashes tonight, please let me know in the chat, so I can, 'cause I can reboot it, and then the sound comes back on, because it is the software. So anyway, all right. So where are we going to go tonight? I played that clip because everything that's happening here started over there. EU, the globalist, all the corruption is, Epstein was, and if you don't know this, and I never really noticed this until now. I didn't realize this until now. Epstein was like, he was like in charge. He wasn't like some dude that was working for, some low levels, and they were trafficking kids. That dude was an international Mossad, Israel, US government, CIA. I mean, he covered it all. And he did it all. Alex was talking about the guy with the coat, at the subway, and he opens the coat and he's got watches and cigarettes, and and he's got dice, and he's got guns, he's got whatever you want to buy, he's got it. That's actually who Epstein was. Jeffrey Epstein was the kind of person that could do and get and handle anything, whether it was women, children, babies, adrenochrome, or cloning, or drugs, all that. He was like a kingpin to all that stuff. And we know Les Wexner was like right there. He was like the money that started it. And if you get a chance to watch Bannon's thing, Bannon did a 16 hours. I couldn't have done it, but he did 16 hours, and with Epstein, they published just about 2 hours of it, and he literally says that he was the the top person for the Rothschilds, you know. So that tells you everything you need to know about who Epstein really was, and all the people that are stepping down and quitting their jobs and all this stuff. They're running for the hills. They're all in the Epstein files, and they're going to get crushed. And so I was talking about this earlier when I first started the stream about when I was here on Saturday, and we were doing, we were investigating in live time on the internet with Web IO, and the sound was going in and out, and I didn't know. And I had Thomas Siska from Infowars on with me, and we're getting into some stuff, but now I know that the sound kept going out, so I want to apologize for that. We're going to do it again. I'm going to get back into that, and we're going to spend some time and really dig deep in there. Thing is I don't know who all the globalists are. I haven't been around for 30 years, so I don't know their names or nothing. Only names that I know are the ones that I've heard about in the last 5 or 6 years. So we could do like a chat thing to where you can go, hey, what about this person? And I could put it in there. We could pull it up. We can find out the emails, all the information, if they have federal charges, everything. Everything that has to do with the Epstein files, I have a server that has all of it. So we'll get into that probably maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Either that or Monday we'll do a couple short 1 hour or 2 hour streams where we just do that. We'll get into it. We will definitely get into it. Where we're gonna go. We are gonna go right here. We're gonna start with the State of the Union and do this. We know, but we're just gonna have some clips I want to cover. Elon Omar cut yelling at the event. Now, see the thing about this is they were protesting out front. Joy Reid was out there, and there's a bunch of liberal women, because it's always liberal women that are, that are doing this whole protest thing. But they're outside and they're talking, trash and doing all that stuff. But inside, they were doing the same thing. And Trump clowned them bad. So we're gonna play a couple clips here.
Removal of criminal aliens, in many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country. They're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
That was quite the speech, wasn't it? Let me start off by saying something very clearly. If you have any degree of common sense, if you have the ability to think critically and use logic, the only conclusion you can draw from tonight's State of the Union address is that the modern radical Democrat Party hates America. And I do not say that lightly. I wish I could say I was surprised. I wish I could say, I can't believe they didn't stand up for X reason, Y reason, Z reason. Trump literally gave them the opportunity to stand up and admit that one of the roles of government, one of the biggest roles of government, is to protect American citizens. And what did they do? They sat on their hands like they are known to do, like they have continued to do. Every time they have had power, they have allowed individuals to run roughshod over the average American and dare you to call them out on it. One of the best things he did was actually call them out and allow individuals to see this contrast for themselves, because all too often you'll see leftists engage in this weird war of words, right? Where they try to couch or phrase things differently to make it appear more palatable. They are masters at this. This is one of the hallmarks of cultural Marxism, is trying to change the definitions of things, trying to make things sound more appealing to the average everyday person, right? But you're going to sit there now and tell me that Democrats could not be bothered to stand up and admit that their job is to protect American citizens, particularly over illegal immigrants. They can't do that, right? They won't stand up for the 5-year-old girl who almost lost her life at the hands of an illegal immigrant who was given a driver's license here in this country. They consistently prove to you time and time again that the last thing they care about is the average everyday American. And yet they think that they are entitled to walk these halls of power. They think that they should be allowed to form and create these rules and these laws. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that the State of the Union address has not devolved into a little bit of political theater. I mean, it started off with Al Green, literally the festering boil on Houston, Texas, showing up with the sign that said, "Black people aren't apes." Who told you that they were apes in the first place, Al Green? Let me ask you that question. But honestly, Al Green, ironically enough, is probably the strongest argument against the statement he even made this evening. But I digress. These people are not serious. These people do not care about you. And these people will prove to you time and time again that all they want to do is stand against American progress. They cannot be bothered to put your needs first. And they pretend that they care about America at all. It's almost as if, it's like if you would imagine a vampire being forced to hold a cross. That's them holding American flags. I tuned in before the speech actually started, and there was some State of the Swamp event that they were holding, right? Of course, it was attended by the usual suspects like Mark Ruffalo was there and a couple others. He literally had, I think it was Maxine Dexter. She's one of the crazed individuals from Portland, Oregon. I cannot make this up to you. She literally had individuals behind her in inflatable frog costumes. And they're pretending that they're foot soldiers on the front lines of some imaginary war that they made up, right? Because to them, and you saw Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, a few others, you saw them very blatantly prove they don't care about Americans. They really do think they're the good guys. I don't know how you master the art of mental gymnastics to this degree that you sit there yelling at the president when the president is telling you how he's literally had to undo much of what you did. And let's make no mistake, the average leftist always seems to forget this, but this is probably one of the biggest overarching themes they need to grapple with. All they had to do was let Trump win in 2020, the election that he actually won that was stolen from him. If they just let him win, they wouldn't be dealing with this right now. But they couldn't help themselves. They had to sit down. How can we stop the counting in these few swing states and get Biden in there and then literally throw open the doors at the southern border and let all these people in, right? And allow American citizens to lose their lives because we are prioritizing illegal immigrants. Trump went so far as to even classify fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction and has talked about how it has contributed to the average American's lives, losing their lives. Talking about young women. This is the party that claims to be all for women, right? Oh, we care about women so much, believe all women, right? But then they're going to let these individuals in who actually cause young American women to lose their lives. And they sit there with a straight face and dare you to call them out on it. These people are evil. These people are morally bankrupt. These people will not stop until they have completely gotten you under their government boot. And what's funny is they're going to sit there now. They would watch this video, right? And they would call me the bootlicker, right?
Yeah, and so that makes complete sense to me because one of the things that we notice with these liberal, as he called it, liberal this gymnastics thing that they do, talking about how if by the way, if we don't do well in the midterms, what's going to happen, right? It's going to start the whole impeachment thing. We're going to get all back. It's going to start that whole thing over. And if we lose in 28, it's over. Like, you're going to see all the people that have been going out, Homan, all the cabinet, Trump, all the commentators or whatever you want, the podcasters and the show hosts and all that. They're all going to get arrested for the find something, figure something out, make something up. But this is what they do. They make you out to be the bad guy while they're the ones doing the exact thing that they say you're doing. And that's exactly what he's talking about. These people don't care about America. We know, like, people that have been around for a while, people that, that have paid attention, that aren't like locked into some, fantasy world that, liberalism is cool, or really, that, thinking that if you voted for Trump, you're a racist or a bigot or a xenophobe or whatever the hell they call homophobe, and all this stuff, right? They have all these labels, they call us racist, but yet they're the ones that are racist against the American people. It's crazy. It's so sad to see. And then they claim that we are dividing America when it's them dividing America, whether it's the race card or the mostly the race card, or if you voted for Trump, or if you stand strong on one particular thing, or if you don't want your kids' balls chopped off, or whatever it is, you're the wrong. You're in the wrong. But we know anybody that has any common sense, and more people are coming around to the common sense factor here, because it's really not even Christianity at this point. It's just common sense. Yeah, I mean, Christianity is definitely, a thing that, when you have that, God and Christianity in your life, you see things from a different perspective. These people, they're Satanists, so they don't see what we see. So no matter what you say to them, or it doesn't matter. They straight up, they're Satanists. I mean, there's no other way to put it. That's how it is. So when I hear him talking about this with Elon, Omar and Talib and all these what they classify as socialist liberals, they're the ones that are absolutely crazy. And how they got into office is beyond me. I do not know how any of these people, especially the ones that aren't even American citizens, or they weren't born in America, some of them can't even hardly barely speak English, and they're holding office in the United States of America. Somebody help me understand this. I have no idea. I do not know how this is a thing. Anyway, let's move on. Get my screen up. You got to remind me, got to let me know if I happen to lose the sound. Please hit me up in the chat. We got chat going on all the platforms. So let me know if I lose sound, because that sucks. And I'm paying attention to it, but I'm in here by myself. I don't have a producer tonight. He's had some family things going on, so hopefully he'll be here soon in the next streams. We're just doing this like we always have by myself. So, and John will be here tomorrow night. My show host, my co-host, I should say, he'll be here tomorrow night, and we're gonna roll and we're gonna do a bunch of stuff. We might have something special for you tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. Stand by.
Attending the State of a Union address is not some optional thing that you can decide to boycott. Under Article 2, Section 3 of the Constitution, you are required to attend and report to the people. As the president reports to you, you then report to your constituents and to the people by which you represent. What you are now saying is that you refuse to report to the people by which you represent because you don't like the president. He hurt your feelings. This president is not only the best president that we've ever had, but he stands between us and our replacements in the black neighborhoods. We see you sending those illegals into our area. We see you replacing us by giving them driver's license, by doing the most for them while we struggle. We're watching this, and you think we don't see this, Democrat?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? I hear you. Am I?
So tonight, I'm inviting every legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. First duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
I mean, it's sad when you think about it. When you really get down to it, it's pretty sad that that is what is going on. Look at that. Dick Durbin just sitting there like a bump on a log, afraid to even stand up if he wanted to. I mean, of course, he doesn't want to, but if he did want to, he wouldn't anyway. I'm looking at something here. For some reason, we're checking something because it looks like I got a sec. Yeah, I got. Oh, that is not good. I have to fix that. Okay, I'll fix it later though. Anyway, what do you think of that? When you see that, does that just piss you off? Because it pisses me off that that's what they think about America. You can say it's Trump, but would it matter if it was someone else, another Republican that was not part of the system? Because you got to remember, and we've covered this a lot, but think about this. Trump is whether you like him or not, he's not a politician, or at least he is a little bit now because he's kind of had to get into the role of being, presidential and politics and all that stuff. But really, he's an outsider. He's always been an outsider, and so, and that's part of the problem. I think is that he's an outsider. So they all hate him because he's not taking money from the globalist or the deep state or whatever. I know it's not the deep state's not the deep state is forever government, but you know what I mean. The not taking money from uh, Israel, and matter of fact, we're giving money to Israel, but you get the point, right? He's an outsider in that way. He can't be controlled, although a lot of people have said in the recent past here that he seems like he's controlled. But when you see what happened last night or night before last for that State of the Union, it kind of shows a different picture that maybe we didn't see. I mean, maybe there's a possibility that he is playing some 3D chess or whatever. I don't know, because that was good. You got to give him credit for that. I mean, you don't have to, but you should. I think that you should give a person credit where credit's due, and he definitely's got that coming. He set those liberals up. He set them up good. Where was we? Okay. Yeah, I have to do this. Okay, I have to do this. I'm not even going to say nothing. I'm just going to play the clip, then we'll talk about it on the other
This is a real video. FBI Director Kash Patel chugging beers with Team USA. Like, what are you doing, bro? Keystone Cash busted celebrating an Olympic locker room on a quote-unquote work trip. Yes, this was a taxpayer-funded work trip. We are literally paying for his private jet, meals, and his $30,000 per day security detail. Meanwhile, not a single pedophile has been arrested in the United States in connection with Jeffrey Epstein. Also, I think somebody literally just tried to break into Mar-a-Lago. This is absolute insanity.
Yeah, and you heard about that, right? The guy that got killed at Mar-a-Lago last week got climbed the wall. Secret Service killed him, or someone killed him. I don't know if it was. I heard something about maybe it was the state police, or I don't know. He got killed though. And then they went on to say it's because he was, he was a Trump supporter and he was pissed off about the Epstein files, because they run with it. They get a topic and they just roll with it and they just make whatever up. This thing, when you look at this, and we're talking about the brainwashing of the people. No time in history that I can ever remember, and my mom was a Democrat. I mean, she was a lifelong old school Democrat, like a liberal, like not like a lefty, but like a liberal, like a Democrat, the old school Democrat, like Trump. Trump's an old school Democrat. Like some of the people that were around 25, 30 years ago before all this stuff was prevalent. I mean, it was here, but it wasn't like this. This is out of control. And any way you swing it, this whole thing, this whole political, um, the whole political ideology right now is just on full upside down clown world. I mean, it just is. You got, and you know what? Listen, what was it yesterday? Looking for content, and I seen what the hell's his name? Shit. It was just it tipped my tongue and I just lost it. The old Senate leader McConnell in a fucking wheelchair, being pushed in a wheelchair. At what point? At what point do you go, you're expired? Time's up. Last few times that he was at the mic, he was just frozen. It's like, what in the hell? We're not serious. We're not a serious country anymore. So when I think about this, it's not Democrats only. It's Republicans. It's Democrats. It's politicians. If you think about it, it's all the politicians are doing the same thing. They either stay in forever. They pass these shitty bills. Try to take your guns away. All these different things. Force you to take COVID shots. Whatever it is. And the people that are in there, and they keep talking about the politicos keep talking about the new younger politicians are coming in and making a change. I haven't seen them. Have you? I haven't seen them. They're, I could count the halfway decent House of Representatives on one hand. I just don't see it. They're all paid for by lobbyists, APAC money. They're all paid for. Matter of fact, 93% are paid for. Anyway, we'll get to that shortly. Let's do it right now. Stand by.
There are 100 U.S. senators. Last year, 93 out of 100 U.S. senators were people whose campaigns had been funded by Israel, AIPAC, and the Israel lobby. 93 out of 100 US senators were taking money from a group that represents a foreign government and foreign interests in order to operate our government on behalf of someone else. And they all work here in this building.
This is Representative Ro Khanna from California, and he does not take AIPAC money according to the website Track AIPAC. Here's what he had to say.
It's too much. I mean, it's too much. All these super PACs and PACs are too much. I don't take a dime of PAC money, lobbyist money, since I've been in Congress. And I don't believe in super PACs. And so I can vote my conscience. But if you have people who have a particular point of view, in AIPAC's case, they're basically whatever Netanyahu does is right. That's their point of view. And they're saying, okay, if you don't take that view, we may come after you. We may have millions of dollars spent against you.
Yeah, it tells you everything you need to know right there. The money that is funding these super PACs are from foreign countries. It's like, come on, man. Like, what's going on here? And just like during the whole COVID scam thing, where and lots of other things, sending money to all these foreign countries where they send money over and then they get the money, they get a portion of it back to go into their coffer for whatever, they're all paid off for these bills that they write and get cashed out. It's just like what happened in Minnesota. It's the same kind of thing. All these people, Republican, Democrat alike, they're all horrible. We really should just get rid of them all and start new, like a 1776 did. They got rid of all the people because they were so corrupt that nobody was worthy of being in office, and they gutted it. That's what needs to really be done. It's not going to happen in our lifetime. I don't see how, unless the American people stand up and do something, which I don't see that going to happen ever. I mean, that's never going to happen, unless we get some civil war thing going on. But I just don't see it. I don't see that. I see that we're just going to complain about it. Anyway. And this is this point. You got these people in office that tell you, and it's always been like this for the last 20 years, 20, 30 years. They tell you how great they're going to do, all the wonderful things they're going to do, and then they get in office and don't do shit. They just don't do nothing. You get one or two that come in, like MTG, or and they're going to do something, and they try and do something, and they strangle them. They go after them, they dox them, they swat them, they sue them. They instead of them going there to do a job, they got a monkey on their back the whole time. The whole time they're in office, they're getting slandered, and their family's getting doxxed and slandered. And then finally, you're like, this is not worth my time to do this, all this hard work. I have no support. What do I do here? And this is the thing that's going on in Congress right now. You have a couple people that are trying to do good work, but all the radicals in the House and all their cronies go after them constantly. But how do you make a change? I guess you just do it anyway. And this leads me to this clip that I'm going to play right now. I just love the context that she holds. Every video that she has, she's funny, but yet she has a good point. So, stand by.
I am 100% jealous of NPCs. There, I said it. I am so jealous of you guys. And by NPC, I mean non-player character. The people that are asleep. The people that have no idea. I just talked to somebody who's completely asleep. And you know what they felt and sounded like? Happy and blissful. Yeah, I'm like, hey, did you hear about Epstein? And he's like, oh, that dude with the island or something. And I'm like, yeah, Then we got into like 2020 and all that stuff. But he has no idea that it was fake. Like none of it. You know what I mean? Like just blissful. And I'm like, oh, have you heard of 15-minute cities? He's like, oh, that sounds actually like really nice. Everything's going to be closed. And I'm like, how about digital IDs? And he's like, oh, I don't have to carry my wallet. And I'm like, Didn't even get mad at the guy. Actually felt jealousy because the dude has no idea what's going on and he just seems blissful and happy and calm, right? I want the red pill. I want to go back to sleep so bad, but like I don't, you know what I mean? I'm happy that I know everything that's going on because then I can prepare. But like at the same time, I used to be like them. I used to be asleep and ignorant and blissful and everything was so happy. Then again, like it's nice being awake and knowing what's happening and being aware of like everything in the world so that you can, whatever, increase your vibration. That's the word. You can increase your vibration and stuff. But like at the same time, it's like I want the red pill. I just want to go back to sleep, wake up in my bed and be like, look at that, I'm an NPC. But you can't do that. It doesn't work backwards. Once you're awake, you cannot go back to sleep.
Yeah, and I think that a lot. Not really, but I mean, I have an example. My wife is like, she don't want to hear about it. She don't give a shit. She's like, who's the best person to vote for? Excuse me. Who's the best person to vote for? Give me the information on who will do the best job. And then, and then we have a conversation about it. And then she goes, votes her conscience, and she does not look back. Now she'll tell me, why is food, how come I thought food prices were supposed to go down, but they haven't went down. They continue to go up. And, I thought that we were supposed to be getting, something was supposed to happen to where the economy was going to get turned around. I keep hearing Trump, because TikTok and all these different things, turning this around. Our economy is supposed to be better, but it's not better, and and then she just goes on to the next thing, and I'm over here pounding on the table, going, when I hear that, I'm like, yeah, why not? Why has this shit not get fixed? I mean, what's the deal? Why are we still, paying over $4 for fuel for gasoline in California? Why is it so expensive? Well, the California has major taxes on fuel, of course, on gas and diesel, and other, I guess other states. Texas is like $2 and something. We're $4 at least, 4.50 still. I mean, so it's went down $1, but when Trump was in office last time, what do you call it? Trump won. Back in Trump won, our regular gas was like 2.50, and it just hasn't reached that. It hasn't came back down, and I don't know what's going on with that. Can anybody answer that question? Because I'd like to know why my wife goes to the grocery store and it's $500, and there's like 4 of us. I don't know. Just, I guess I'm concerned citizen today, right? But my point is, she just goes and does, and she don't watch politics. She'll see some clip on TikTok. Maybe she'll mention it to me, and then I'll tell her what I know about it, and then she just moves on, and I don't move on. I'm like constantly looking at all the different angles of why it's like this and how can we fix it and who is it and why are they doing that, and then you think about Gavin Newsom and you're like, oh yeah, he's running for president. What do you think of that? I mean, because he's wrecked California. I mean, wrecked it. I mean, so anyway, that's my thought on NPCs. Oh yeah, I got one more for you. You're gonna love this. Another just somebody on TikTok, one of these TikTokers talking and making a ton of sense with a little bit of humor. Because humor is necessary in these in days like these. At least for me, it's very important. Otherwise, I want to scream. Yeah, bye.
Martha! Martha! Hey, Anna. Did you hear what happened? Damn, child. Say we got somebody else that's gonna be on our side. I do declare. He got a strong name, powerful name. His name Gavin Newsom. That's right. He was talking to a bunch of Negroes the other day, and he said he just like us. He can't read nor write either. That's what he said. And if he gets in there, we might have somebody that can do more things for us. We might get us a big house. If he what you say he is. Now, is it that good for you? Don't you talk like that. Oh, man, Overseer Obama might hear you. And you know he don't want us to have the things that the rest of the overseers have. If you go around there and tell Big Massa what he heard you say, then, you know, if they don't like what you say, they got a way of making sure don't nobody hear you no more. I know. You got to be careful. Now, Martha, you get on away from around here with that kind of foolish talk. Now, go on, now get. I love you here, but you just can't say stuff like that. Not around here. Come on around the back late after the sun and sit all the way, and we can talk more about it. All right. Love you, yeah. I love you here. All right, child. Yes, indeed. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh.
Oh, no. Garage Talk. Okay, so a buddy of mine sent me a videos of a news outline or a news outlet, and they were talking about the U.S. is sending warships to Iran, and he was kind of shocked. And I said, "Well, why are you shocked, bro? You and we've been talking about this shit forever, since 2000." And I've been telling people for years, like when I'm telling y'all how to prepare and all of this shit, there's a reason behind that. They are trying to start a third world war. They've been planning this shit since 1871. People can't even fathom that shit, but this shit has been going on for so long because what they were trying to do is they said that they don't want to just control the US or Russia. They want a way to pretty much consolidate the whole world into what they call a new order of the world or a new world order. And I read a book by a guy named Albert Pike. He's one of the most prolific Masons, ever. And when you go through his teachings and his writings, it talks about how he received a letter. And in the letter, the person he was talking to was telling him how we can go about creating this world domination. And he said, in order to do it, you need 3 world wars. We've already had 2. And so, and I had to print it out, off from the book, just so people wouldn't think I was making this shit up. But he said in the First World War, you want to overthrow the Russian Tsar, establish atheistic communism, and use political conflict between Britain and Germany. And they pretty much did that. In the Second War, the goal was to strengthen Zionism, establish a Jewish state in Palestine. Now, again, this is 1871. And use conflict between fascism and political Zionism. So pretty much all this shit has happened. Those are the first 2. Now, the third one, they want to create conflict between political Zionism and the Islamic world, Iran, they want to make it lead to global chaos, and they want to exhaust nations into accepting a new order of the world. This is what they've been trying to do for over 100 years. And so when I'm saying how to prepare and how to maneuver and shit like that, people think I'm just grabbing the shit out the air where it hurts. I'm like, no, I've been reading about this shit since the 1996, 7, from that point forward. And so when I'm seeing the shit and it's like, okay, is it actually occurring? It's like, well, yeah, it is. And that's why I keep telling people, don't get emotional about shit, because that's what they want you to do. They're trying to create chaos. This president here, he's intentionally creating chaos, because in order to have a whole new order of the world where you have one government, one currency, one religion, you have to tear down all existing structures. So that's what they're doing. They're tearing this shit down on purpose. And so if you look at my other videos, you'll know how to get ready. Stay ready, you know how to get ready. Simple shit.
Yeah, so sensible. We've been talking about getting prepared forever. Matter of fact, if you go into the description, there is on Rumble and Getter and X and YouTube, there's a link in there. I could put the link up here. I have a QR code. I'll throw it up here. If you want to get prepared, you want to start with food. You want to have, enough food so that if the lights go out, you can eat. Because when the lights go out and if you're not prepared with the generator, all your food dies, spoils, it's no good. You need to have food. So you get restorable food. We've got restorable food. I made sure that when all this stuff happened in 2020, I started throwing money at, preparedness. You know what I mean? Everything, I got water filter. It's not that expensive. A few $100, you know what I mean? And I got a water filter. It's gravity fed. Got it from my Patriot Supply. Boom, no problem. Got the water heater. I mean uh, the water. It's a get gravity fed water filter, and then I got restorable food. Now I got the food is you add water or whatever, and it's good for 25 years. And I got that. I put it away, and then some more stuff. I started seeing what was going on, and if you don't know this or not, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but think about this. One day, you wake up in the morning and you're like, "Huh, my phone's glitching. It's not working right." And then, you're going throughout the day, you're not getting any phone calls. You're like, "Man, what the hell's going on?" And then your phone's not working. Maybe you could dial out or maybe you could get phone calls in, but you can't get them out. That is not a glitch. That's a test. Just like when they shut the fucking power off, that and all of a sudden you don't have power for 2 days. That happened to us like 2 times last year. It's not a glitch in the system. It's a test to see what's going to happen when there's no power. And so if you don't know this or not, and I've covered this a lot, and I'm not being uh what do you call it? Alarmist at all. I'm just being clear with all of you right now. If your power goes out or if you don't have power, you need water, right? So you need gravity fed water tank. If you don't have power, all your food's gonna get your frozen food lasts for a few days before it thaws out. If you keep your freezer closed, right? And then canned goods are good, but you can't live off just canned goods. I guess you can. Got to have some rice. You got to get rice, put it in a bucket, a sealed container, so that it doesn't get mites in it. Just the simple things that I did so that when if the and hopefully, you know what? Hopefully I never need it. But, I think I got, maybe $1,000 into it, maybe 1,500, I don't know. I got a generator also. Now the generator was because I wanted to make sure that I had power all the time. All that stuff is on my Patriot Supply. It's relatively inexpensive. They have deals, they have payment plans, they have all that stuff. QR code on the screen. Um, and or you can go in the description and click the code, and it takes you right to the page, and just check it out. I mean, you're either going to do it or you're not. If you don't and you need it, you're screwed. What years ago I used to say I'd rather have it and not need it and not have it. And I have children, so I want to make sure that my kids are taken care of. And so we went um, last winter. I took my boys. I have a teenager and a I was he was 6 at the time, and 6 and 16. And I took them. We went camping in the winter because I want to make sure that they can fend for themselves. And we didn't take food. We took restorable food, and we ate the food. And they liked the macaroni and cheese, and they liked all the food that we had. They have meat in the bag, all this stuff. I mean, it's dehydrated, whatever, and it wasn't bad. You know what I mean? You know, and just saying, check it out. Maybe you'll buy some of that stuff if you use the code. It's like 45% off right now. Code's in the description, or you can hit the QR code. All right, let's go. All right. I hate seeing this stuff. Okay, so I don't know this dude. All I know is that it sounds like he is a. What I mean is I haven't seen him before, but the messaging was the thing that threw me off. I did not like it, and I don't give a shit if you're a Republican or you're a Democrat or you're nobody or whatever. This is not okay to have the government breathing down your back behind a Facebook post or whatever, right? So check this out. This kind of thing is what I don't agree with. I don't care which administration it is. I don't like it. Well, let me cue my thing up so it plays.
We got an interesting visit today from the Department of Homeland Security and the Secret Service. Yeah, no bullshit. 6 black SUVs out front of my house, shut down the street, interrogating all my neighbors about me, asking questions like I'm some kind of internationally wanted war criminal. All over my social media posts. No bullshit. Yeah, they left me a little placard. And on the placard, it says, POTUS threat. Because I would ever, or have I ever, threaten the president of the United States over fucking Instagram. It's just not my style. You know what I mean? But let's be honest, that's not what this is about. This is an intentional bullying campaign. This is an intimidation to get me to shut the fuck up, okay? And it's not happening. I don't fear your threats. I fear no man. I don't even fear death. The only thing I fear is God. Okay? And if the truth that I spread makes me your enemy, then you better sharpen your fucking sword. Because I would rather die standing in my convictions than ever bow like a fucking coward. Instead of wasting taxpayer dollars and time, energy, and resources to come investigate me, why don't you put that same energy into tracking motherfuckers down from the Epstein files? Why don't you put that same energy into tracking down actual pedophiles so I don't have to do it on my free time? How about you put that same time and energy into investigating anyone from the Epstein files that's in our federal government right now as we speak? The cherry on top of all this is I'm no stranger to being on the Fed's radar. Okay, I've been on the FBI watch list for I don't even know how long. The International Organized Crime Database. I mean, all the above. And I have never, not a single time, ever been harassed over my social media posts.
Yep. Like that. I don't like that. That's not good. I don't like that. DHS going after some dude because, for whatever. So he puts this thing up. I'm going to see if I can read it here. Authoritarianism is a form of government or social system characterized by highly concentrated power, the rejection of political clarity, and the suppression of democratic processes, civil liberties, and the rule of law. Key traits include a strong central ruler or elite group, limited individual rights, and the use of coercion, propaganda, or fear to maintain control. Now that's Ricky HD is who he is. He's on Instagram. If you want to check out his stuff, I don't know who he is, but I ran across that and I was like, I always fight for, I always fight for people that have, that's been wronged. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. If the government's doing that kind of stuff, it's unacceptable. I wouldn't want it at my house. So, it's just bullshit. It is. It's not okay. And, um, yeah, think of it if it was you. And, I don't know what he said. He probably was saying something. Sounds like he was saying something about pedophiles or something. I don't know. Ricky HD. I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna see if I can get a hold of him. All right. All right. All right. Where we at? We're gonna. So this whole thing's going on. We got Epstein files. Everybody's in an uproar about the Epstein files. Should be. Finally get a bunch of them released. By the way, I just heard today that 100 million. Let's see, 100 million files. 100,000 terabytes missing. Let's see if they release 3 million. Maybe it was 100 million terabytes of data was hacked from the FBI servers or DOJ servers and was deleted. I just heard that. So, I mean, I'm doing more investigation on that, but how you like that shit? See, we're not all happy and fun here. So there's some things that we're we got some work to do for sure. We definitely got some work to do. But anyway, we're gonna get to the Epstein files here shortly, and the other stuff, the Iran war. Don't forget that. But right now, what I want to cover is Epstein files are out. We got all this stuff going on. We got Iran war going on. We got the shit with Israel going on. We have all these things happening right now. And then what do they say? There's a such thing as aliens. Yep, we're going to release the aliens. We're going to release the aliens. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? So now all of a sudden, after all these hundred years, they've been talking about, there's, we may have some investigations going on with UAPs and, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's talking. First, Obama comes out one day and talks about aliens and saying that, they're not at Area 51, but there are some. And then Trump comes out and says he shouldn't have said that. Maybe I'll just release him and get him off the hook. It's just political theater. But listen to this. I'm gonna play these two back to back. Stan, always forget the system. You gotta do it right. Yeah, bye.
In true distraction fashion, we're going to go ahead and talk about aliens now. We're going to disclose all the alien files because y'all won't stop talking about Jeffrey Epstein and his co-conspirators and demanding their accountability. There is no tremendous interest that was shown in wanting to see alien files. I firmly believe that one, that was all started in order to get you to talk about something else, or to get the news, Fox News specifically, to be able to talk about something else. But two, I believe that this was put out because it's creating a lot of speculation as to whether or not he's going to talk about this at the State of the Union. And my guess is that current polls or current whatever things that they have to tell them how things are going is telling them that nobody's going to watch the State of the Union, or that viewership of the State of the Union will be historically low. So this is trying to drum up excitement for that. I've seen them do this before, and I got caught up in it. I was like, oh my God, I got to watch because I want to see if he was going to talk about aliens. And then I watched, and then they didn't. I'm not going to get caught up in it again. Fuck your State of the Union. Unless you were going to drag these co-conspirators out on that fucking stage and hang them by a noose on their fucking neck, I don't care about your State of the Union. I don't care what you got to say about the economy. I don't care about the inflated things that you've got in order to make yourself look good. I don't fucking care. Economy in my house is not any better. I just dropped $230 on groceries again this week. We're not even buying meat. We're not buying specialty fucking items. Talk to me about all these tax breaks. We're getting all these tax breaks. They're historically low on a high tax breaks. And I saw one post on Facebook. They're like, what are you going to do with all that extra money? Where are you going on vacation? Comment below. Bitch, I'm going on vacation in my back fucking yard because I ain't seen anything yet. My middle class ass has seen zero relief. None. Don't talk to me about your fucking tax reform. I don't want to hear about the tax reform. I don't want to hear about the baby monkey. I'm sorry. It's sad. I didn't watch the video, and I probably won't, but that's the way that monkeys go. Okay, you step out of line, adult monkeys are going to drag you around by your ears. But they don't do is they don't eat and have sex with children, probably of the human species. So maybe we should refocus. We should refocus off the monkey and off the State of the Union and off the aliens, back on to demanding accountability for all these co-conspirators. My understanding that Lex Wexner, okay, he went ahead and had a conversation with Congress, and they were like, did you do all these things? And he's like, no. And his lawyer's like, if you don't start answering these questions in five words or less, I'm going to fucking kill you. Why isn't that being addressed a little bit more? Why isn't this being talked a little bit more about? Hung up. I want to see you hung up. I'm all done paying taxes. I don't want to pay taxes. I want to see accountability to the nth degree. And to everybody in my comments, they're like, did you not hear her when it was Pam Bondi? Did you not hear her when she said that there were investigations? Do you not know how investigations? No, my bad. I still got my Russiagate investigation curtains up, COVID investigation and accountability decorations up. Sitting on our thumbs and waiting for a corrupt FBI or a corrupt Department of Justice to actually investigate and hold anybody accountable are fucking over. Shit is wore out. Accountability's coming. Accountability's coming. Accountability. We still don't know where the money laundering and all that shit. What happened with that with Ukraine? Is there still a war going on in Ukraine? You can talk to me about aliens. I don't care about aliens unless they come down out of the sky and string you all up by your fucking ankles, or from the ocean, or from the interdimensional portal. I don't care. I don't care. We are living in a world that is run by a bunch of baby-eating pedophiles. Look at this baby monkey. Well, what about Savannah's mother? Aliens? Is aliens going to do it? Bring Lincoln's ghost out from the White House next? Yep, ghosts are real. Here he is. Ooga booga. Precious midterms. That's all I see Conservative Incorporated posting about. But what about the midterm? What about the midterms? Nobody gives a fuck about the midterms. I don't give a fuck about the midterm. Well, then the Democrat. I don't give a fuck about the Democrats either. I don't fucking care. I don't care about the Democrats. I'm not afraid of the Democrats. They're going to ruin your life. They already ruined my life. And look, nothing happened. Nobody was held accountable for it. Nobody was held accountable. You know what happened? It just continued on. At least things are better now than they were. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're not better now than they were. I'm not supposed to be swearing. I forgot. Dang it.
Bible's pretty clear that humanity was not its only creation. And I'm not saying that these are, items that were addressed in the Bible, but it is interesting that if you look at historical context and also documents that have existed throughout time in humanity, and we can get probably into a whole nother topic on that, but you read into the book of Enoch, a lot of this advanced technologies is potentially referenced then. And so all I'm saying is that from a national security perspective, we, the American people, deserve to know what the government has. They shouldn't be hiding it.
So what do you think of that? What do you think of all that shit? Huh? I mean, it's just very interesting to me that we have now we have Congress talking about UAPs and talking about alien forces, and Trump talking about they're going to release the aliens while all this other stuff's going on. How about the Epstein files, Jimmy? How about finding the rest of the people in the files and getting them strung up? Right? That's what we should be. We should be pushing Congress. Well, I don't know. They don't do shit anyway, but we should be pushing DOD or DOJ to indict. I mean, you got Hillary Clinton up there. You got Bill Clinton there today. Closed rooms, and closed hearing, and they're not going to do shit. They never do. They don't do anything about it, but yet they talk about how they're going to do something about about it, and they never do. So Christy Nome. Now this is crazy. That's all I got on the UAP this week. Maybe we'll talk some more about it. We did the Area 51 documents a while back, last year. I think it was 2 years ago. We did the stuff on the UAPs and unidentified, blah blah blah, and it was interesting to say the least. It definitely was interesting what we found when we did a deep dive in the documents, in the federal documents for Area 51 and stuff like that, where they were talking about all that stuff. But I mean, it if there's life, other life forces here, in the world, and they haven't attacked us yet, then I'm pretty sure they're not going to attack us tomorrow. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but what I know that I've listened to dark journalists talk about it quite a bit, and his talk makes a lot of sense, but I don't know enough about it to really say much about that, except for that they haven't really, unless they have been and we don't know. And it's that because dark journalist talks about how it's a force or a being that is in our atmosphere all the time, and we just don't know it. I mean, there is that. Anyway, let's move on. Christy Nome had a really interesting conversation when she's talking about she ran across a closet in her office that nobody knew what it was. And so they're, hey, what's that room right there? And then they got in the room, and it was a bunch of people, analysts doing corrupt stuff. We fired them all. Did you arrest anybody? No, they just fired them all. So it's the same thing, different day. It's just, I don't know. I mean, do you think that the first thing that should have happened is they should have been interrogated and arrested? I mean, they're doing stuff against the United States of America. It should have been treason, right? I don't know. Let's listen to what she said. I'm gonna drink some water and try to get this frog out of my throat. Frogs are gay, right?
Can't believe what I found since I've been in this department. I just found the other day a whole room in on this campus that was a secret SCIF, secure facility that had files nobody knew existed. So we just happened to have an employee walk by a door and wonder what it was and started asking questions. We went in there. There was individuals working there that had secret files that nobody knew about on some of these most controversial topics like that. And now I've got that turned over to attorneys, and we're getting to the bottom of what exactly happened there. We have CBP, which is Customs and Border Protection. They know every traveler that comes into this country, every good that comes in. They're the ones who assess and collect all of the tariffs. But the information that they had on travelers that came in during COVID, what our national labs, which I also have national labs under my jurisdiction, they're scientists that participated with that Wuhan lab, how they were traveling back and forth between each other and working on those experiments. It's been eye-opening. And I'll tell you, Patrick, even from the time I came into this office, it was, Elon and his team were extremely helpful to me. They helped me identify that some of my own employees in my department had downloaded software on my phone and my laptop to spy on me.
Stop it.
To record our meetings.
Wow.
They had done that to several of the politicals.
Wow.
And so we ended up bringing in people, and that was something that if you didn't have those technology experts here in the department looking at all of our laptops and our phones and recognizing that kind of software, it would still be happening today. So one of the things I need to do and continue to do is partner with technology companies and experts to bring them in and help us. Because many times in government, and especially in this department, which was extremely neglected, we were just behind and not up to the standard we should be at. I remember the first 4 months, I couldn't even send a PowerPoint over email from the Department of Homeland Security servers that was longer than 6 pages long. So the backwards thinking of protecting our country was extremely detrimental to keeping us safe. And many times the deep state, I think what I tell people most of the time is I always believed when people talked about the deep state before that it existed. I never would have dreamed that it was as bad as it is. It is. I'm still every day trying to dig out people who don't love America, that not just work at this department, but also work throughout the federal government.
Shocked? Are you shocked at all? At all? Are you shocked at all? I'm not. I'm not shocked. I'm shocked that it's been a year and then all of a sudden they find a room a year later. Shocked. I'm shocked about that. But I'm not shocked that the deep state are in there doing what they do, because that's what they do. The stay behind networks are always working against the American people. And why are the American people not in an uproar about this is beyond me. This should be front line news when it happened. I didn't hear nothing about it. It's been, who knows, Elon must have been gone 6 or 7 months, and we didn't hear nothing about her phone being tapped. They don't tell you nothing. And I get it. It's, breach of security or whatever you call it. I get that. But, think about it. Think about that. Her phone was tapped. You got people in there doing God knows what really they were doing against the people of the office. It's just beyond me. I just don't. And and they weren't arrested. They weren't arrested. Are you serious? Anyway, all right. So I ran across this, and I just, you know, I'm planning on doing more on this. Candace Owens is kind of doing a what do you call it? A series on Erica Kirk and the Charlie Kirk saga and all that stuff. And but I seen this, and I was like, she did. Erica Kirk just looks fake, like, you know, pretty as she is and all that stuff. And, now she's the head CEO of Turning Point and all that stuff. But when I listened to this, I was like, that just sounds like she's either don't know what she's saying or she's just not very smart. I don't know. You tell me.
Look at this. Look this direction. Do you like what you see? You can keep going further. You can keep going down this further. And you have other people that look at this. Sensationalize this. Look at this. You see it now? So everything is vying for your attention. Everything. And it's literally just goes back to the garden of Adam and Eve. God says, you have the Garden of Eden. Do not eat the fruit from this tree. You have everything else. And then they're like, why not this tree? Fixation on focus on what you can't have when you have all of this.
Those eyes, man, throw me off. I mean, is it just me or does her eyes look interesting? I've heard other people talk about her eyes in the past. Um, but it's just that glimpse of it looks like I don't know. I don't know how to call it, but she just looks I don't know. I guess we'll just say different for right now until we have more information. But it just seems her eyes. There's something about her eyes that throws me off, and I'm not sure what it is. I mean, I do. I think I know what it is, but I don't know. It looks it looks kind of demonish, maybe, or something. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way she looks. We'll just say that. We'll just say it's just the way she looks. Anyway, if you didn't know about the school system and we've covered this a lot, but the school system, I have a couple young boys. Well, I guess one of them's not young anymore. He's 17. He's almost 18. Shit. And I have a 7-year-old, and we have him in a Montessori because the school system, the public school system is just horrible in this area. Well, probably everywhere, but in this area, um, my wife was a teacher in the school system for years and had to leave because it was so bad. It was just horrible. And with the wokeness and the gender confusion and the liberalism is so strong and the brainwashing and all that stuff. And this lady breaks it down very interestingly in a way that I could understand it. So I was like, yeah, listen to this one. I mean, if you got your kids in public school, man, you probably should you need to go sit in a couple classrooms, you know what I mean, to see what's going on. Because what happened for me was my 17-year-old, it was probably 2 years ago. We've had several conversations about uh, taking him out of school. He was like, "No, I want to finish school." And my son's very awake. He's very, you know, he's very he's autistic, but he's awake. He's very, he knows what's up. And so when he's like, "Yeah, Dad, I want to change classes because there is a BLM flag and a gay flag and he was like, and a hammer and sickle on the wall. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, you don't want to be in that class. Is there another class? Who's the other teacher? So we moved him. And but so this is what's going on in our school system. They will subliminally brainwash your kids, just like the internet. But I mean, the school system, their job is to teach your kids, basic learning tools for life, and instead they teach them propaganda. Anyway.
Take your children out to school. I'm a former educator of 24 years. They stopped teaching them years ago. You just didn't know. You just didn't know. Education went to hell years ago. They taught them compliance. They stopped teaching them to think. Analytical thought went out the window with state exams. Those state exams are just being used to track your children, to determine who's going to college, to train them to support this godforsaken system, or the rest that's going elsewhere. They have pushed us into prison. I don't care how you look at it. If you're in corporate America, you're imprisoned by your lifestyle. If you're in the government, you're imprisoned by your job with good benefits. You understand? If you are on subsidy, you're imprisoned by their benefits. We have to get out their system, pull yourself out, pull your dollars out, and level it.
I agree. I totally agree. If you're in the system, if you're in any system, you're slave to it. Just the truth. I mean, that's just the truth. You mean? Um. Anyway, so I want to cover this before I get too far. Last week, there was the thing in Mexico. Now, when I tell you that I this one got me. This one was like not on my radar. I didn't realize what was going on, and it all came together all at once. So, it all kind of hit me all at once when I realized it because reason why I'm telling you this is because what I'm always talking about Iran war, Israel war, or Ukraine war, Russia war, you know, uh, the terrorists in our country, and how we need to be aware of our surroundings because of the terrorist threat and all that stuff. Covered it a lot. I missed this one. It got right by me, and I can't believe that through all the stuff that was going on in like Los Angeles and New York and Minnesota and all these different places where the Mexican flag was being flown, I missed it. So with this thing that happened in Mexico the other day, it kind of hit me hard because what is going on is we have all those other things that I talked about, you know, despite the overseas wars, those are wars in other countries or whatever. But they also have people here that when those wars start, like Iran, there's terrorists here waiting for that war to start to attack us from the inside. That's what I believe. I believe that wholeheartedly. I just do. Now, what I missed was the whole thing with the cartel and all that stuff that I missed. I missed it. So, um, there's a high possibility that in these border states that we're going to get invaded by. There's a possibility of being attacked by the cartels, and when you see what they have, like what they're really operating from, it kind of makes you think twice about like that they're just in Mexico because they're not just in Mexico. They're here. They're in the United States as well. And when we're doing our research on the border years ago, I didn't see a lot of like Hispanic, like cartel tattoos on the face and all that stuff. I seen some of that, but majority of it were Chinese, Indian, East Middle Eastern, and Congo, all those different, um, what do you call them, nationalities or whatever, cultures. I didn't really get the part about the cartel. And when I seen this happen the other day, how they shut Mexico down, like all the tourist cities in Mexico were completely shut down and ravished. I don't know if you've seen it or not. I have a couple clips on it, but stand by. Let me play this clip.
I know these units. I'm intimately familiar with them. Bro. If we declare war on the cartel, like these dudes are not gonna understand what the fuck is going on.
No,
like,
of course
they,
not.
They are gonna be, because
You'll
God
stop the
bless those
distribution.
guys.
That's going to be
They are in for a world of like ultra violence they've never actually felt before, because obviously this is a very capable ultra violent organization. They have fucking no clue. If we organize these tier 1 units against them, this is going to be what I would be doing if I was down there. Like, I know all those shoe boxes in my fucking, my walls that I'm going to have to collect up. I'd be getting ready to retire right now. That's what I would be doing. Because if Delta Force is hunting me, bro, I would be so terrified.
Is that a real thing that they've proposed doing?
Yes, that is a real thing.
Who proposed that?
I'm almost positive either JD or Trump had said something with the new guy from ICE, like, we're going to mobilize tier 1 units against the cartel. The only thing I thought was like, retire. If you guys got some money, man, I would like put that away. Like maybe move Jamaica.
Open
I don't
up a
know, go
restaurant.
somewhere. Yeah, buy a restaurant. Like,
Buy a
try to go
restaurant.
legit, because
go legit.
dude, if those guys are hunting you, by the way, like, you're done. You're fucking done.
And it's a weird thing that's going on right at our border.
So
it's a
strange.
weird thing because it's so close to us and it's so ultra violent and dangerous, and it's just completely shaped the way the entire economy of the country works. They have so much power and control, and it's a criminal organization that is almost entirely, at least, funded by us, by our desire. Trump declares war on cartels. President-elect said notorious crime syndicates and drug kingpins will never sleep soundly again once he launches his plans to tackle the issue.
I thought about this for a long time, where I'm like, if they turned loose Delta Force and SEAL Team 6 on cartels and pedophiles, we could just kind of like erase the problem in about 2 years.
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth, coming at you here live in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Just had the military driving past me, and as I understand it, I should not be around anywhere where the police or the military are, because they are the target right now. As you can see, this whole place is like deserted right now because there's burning cars back there, burning cars right here still smoldering, and the situation is incredibly intense. As I'm sure you've already heard, there was a top drug lord cartel member, El Mencho, who has been killed. I believe there was a $15 million bounty on this man's head, and he is now dead. And that has caused this whole situation to pop off. The place looks like an absolute war zone right now, folks. Cartel has been setting up blockades in the streets, stopping cars. A whole bus was set on fire. You've got cartel members who literally look like the military. These guys are serious. These guys mean business. A Costco was set on fire. A hospital was under attack. People running for their lives. There was the
Sound check. Back on. Sorry, guys. Gotta let me know when the
Howard
sound, when the
Lutnick,
sound goes
currently
out.
serving as
Hit me
the
up in the chat.
41st United States Secretary of Commerce, joined Cantor Fitzgerald in 1983, rising rapidly to become its president and CEO at age 29, establishing himself as a prominent Wall Street figure for over 3 decades, rebuilding Cantor Fitzgerald after the devastating loss of 658 employees, including his brother, in the September 11th, 2001 attacks, an event he somehow missed.
Jeffrey Epstein was your neighbor. He was your neighbor for 10 years. How well did you know him?
All right, so we are in number 11, and he lives in number 9.
The head of Cantor Fitzgerald, Harold Lutnick, just happened to be out of the office that day that the terrorists struck.
When I was talking to Cantor Fitzgerald brokers and bankers in the days leading up to 9/11, they themselves were buying these airline puts. They told me, based on rumors that were coming out of Alex Brown associated with Buzzy Krongard. So this looks to me as if
Howard Lutnick, currently serving as the 41st United States Secretary of Commerce, joined Cantor Fitzgerald in 1983, rising rapidly to become its president and CEO at age 29, establishing himself as a prominent Wall Street figure for over 3 decades, rebuilding Cantor Fitzgerald after the devastating loss of 658 employees, including his brother, in the September 11th, 2001 attacks, an event he somehow missed.
Jeffrey Epstein was your neighbor. He was your neighbor for 10 years. How well did you know him?
All right, so we are in number 11, and he lives in number 9.
The head of Cantor Fitzgerald, Harold Lutnick, just happened to be out of the office that day that the terrorists struck.
when I was talking to Cantor Fitzgerald brokers and bankers in the days leading up to 9/11, they themselves were buying these airline puts. They told me, based on rumors that were coming out of Alex Brown associated with Buzzy Krongard. So this looks to me as if CIA insiders knew enough about what was going on, but chose to make money rather than blowing the whistle.
He literally watched the plane go into the building, go into the World Trade Center. Amazing story. That alone is an amazing story. He was delayed because his wife insisted that he finally, after years, take his child to school.
Recently, taking the economic wheel on the Trump administration's second term, Lutnick publicly championed and defended the tariffs as essential for national security and economic rebalancing, dismissing concerns about their legality or economic fallout, calling worries about Supreme Court invalidation silly.
In the very unlikely event that you're wrong, what is the contingency plan? You'd have to refund these tariffs? How the hell does that work?
To think about silly things is a waste of time.
The mechanism offered companies an upfront payment of 20 to 30% of the duties paid in exchange for assigning their legal claim to any refund, effectively a litigation finance bet that the tariffs would be ruled unlawful, triggering government repayments of potentially hundreds of billions in collected duties. 175 billion at last count. Many have been quick to debunk the possibility of Lutnick scamming the United States. It is all based on a 2025 Wired magazine article that claimed the firm had already completed a $10 million deal in refund rights, a claim that remains a he said, she said between media reports and company denials. Regardless, Lutnick's myriad of Epstein connections is raining down like meteors from the sky.
We rebuild our house. We move in 2005. Okay. Jeffrey Epstein is arrested in like 08, I think, or something like that.
Right.
So knock on the door. His assistant on like a Saturday says, Mr. Epstein, your neighbor would like to invite you over for coffee.
Nick, I think you understand the root of concern here. It's the way you described very emphatically your first encounter with him in his apartment, said you were disgusted, would never have any contact with him again.
My wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again. So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
Did you, in fact, make the visit to Jeffrey Epstein's private island?
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation. To suggest there was anything untoward about that in 2012, I don't recall why we did it.
Lutnick is referencing a supposed innocent trip to Epstein Island, referenced in an Epstein email that reveals creepy details about the ages of the children, a constant red flag in the Epstein emails. This is followed up 3 years later with an invite to Jeffrey Epstein to an intimate event for Hillary Clinton at Cantor Fitzgerald from Lutnick, followed by another email 2 years later thanking Epstein for a donation in honor of Howard Lutnick.
Yeah, that's my story. A one and absolutely done.
This isn't a Trump issue. This is a reminder that the 41st United States Secretary of Commerce works for us, we the people. John Bound reporting for InfoWars.
One of the most important things to
All right, here we're back, man. So we're gonna get this straightened out, because what's happening is this system, for some reason, it just out of nowhere it just shuts off. We went for like an hour and 55 minutes, and then then the sound went out. So thank you for letting me know that it was out. Appreciate that. We're up. Our chat's open. Can somebody tell me if the Rumble chat's working? Because I don't know if the Rumble chat's working. Anyway, we're going to keep going here. So Lutnick. What a piece of fucking shit. You know what I mean? I just, politics as usual, right? It goes all the way back to 9/11 when his brother got killed and all those people in the building got killed. But for some reason, out of nowhere, he took his kid to school that day, and allegedly took his kid to school that day. Never did before, but his wife, forced him apparently to take his kid to school that day, and then the 9/11 attack happened, and Trump even made mention of it yesterday or day before in the Oval Office when he was, at his desk, or I don't know if that's what desk that is that he's always sitting at. It might not be the Oval Office. I'm not sure. But he even said, he made a joke about how Lutnick watched the plane hit the building because he wasn't there. It's just, the whole thing just is shaky for me. And the fact that he's the Commerce Secretary, he's in charge of tariffs, and Trump didn't fire him when all this stuff came out about him being in the Epstein files, really says a lot. And I hate to break the news to you, but that just, the pedophile thing is a no-win. Period. Like anybody that's in that administration that's in the files like that, like he's literally not just what he said. Oh, I had lunch with him one time, and I went to his house one time, and it was so gross. There's a massage table in the middle of the floor, and my wife and I said we'll never go back here again. All bullshit. He has all kinds of dealings with him and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, Howard Lutnick, right in the middle, right next to Trump all day long. That sucks, man. That is bad. Bad. Real bad. Real bad. Do I need to tell you that it's bad? It's pretty bad. Wanted to get that out of the way. Lutnick. And we have one more. Still got sound. That's good. I hate when that happens. It really gets at me when my sound goes out. But I promise you, we're going to get the sound straightened out within the next couple days, and we're going to spend some time on it. I'll probably work on it tomorrow. Get the other streaming service up and running. I'll do some test runs on it. And once I get it to where it's right, then we'll start running that new software. I attempted to do it today. It didn't work out. Yep, we're going to do this one. We're going to get into the Epstein files now. All right. Yeah, bye.
Please disperse. Nothing to see here, please.
Leon Black, the billionaire co-founder of Apollo Global Management, has long been tied to the Jeffrey Epstein scandal through massive payments and a close association that he himself has called a horrible mistake. Yet he shelled out $62.5 million in 2023 to the U.S. Virgin Islands to settle and avoid any potential claims tied to Epstein's operations there, where some of those funds indirectly supported Epstein's island empire.
The headline should be Leon Black paid Jeffrey Epstein $158 million for services over 5 years as like a tax advisor. This is a story of a U.S. billionaire paying a convicted sex offender hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, with the lending, it brings him $200 million into Jeffrey Epstein. And the report found that he visited Epstein's home in New York multiple times and his other homes around the world as well, in order to cut his tax bill by $1 or $2 billion, which even that strikes me as concerning.
The leaked document from the Epstein files from 2026 DOJ releases consists of heavily redacted attorney notes from a May 2023 call. Multiple women accused Black of violent rape, often under the guise of massages. One described 7 to 8 years of sadistic abuse, including vaginal biting, causing excruciating pain and bleeding. Another claimed a brutal assault with head slamming. A third, a developmentally disabled 16-year-old girl with autism and mosaic Down syndrome, alleged trafficking by Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, forced to massage Black naked, then violently raped, causing severe rectal and vaginal injuries. Of course, Black has vehemently denied all involvement, calling the accusations baseless, uncorroborated, insisting he's never met certain accusers. And now the outrage is exploding nationwide because LifeTouch, the company behind school pictures for countless American kids across the country, is owned by Shutterfly, which Apollo Global Management controls through its funds.
The rumors have caused concern among parents around the country.
No one really thought anything of it until we started thinking about, okay, wait, who actually is seeing these pictures instead of just the parents?
LifeTouch, too, has responded, releasing a statement which reads in part, LifeTouch is not named in the Epstein files. The documents contain no allegations that LifeTouch itself was involved in or that student photos were used in any illicit activities.
You want to know who owns those photos, and that's typically done by contract, and what can be done with the photos later between you and the photographer.
Stephen Clark is a South Bay-based attorney. He says it's important to read the fine print on consent forms for things like school photo shoots. Tech expert Ahmed Banafa agrees, especially given the chance of a data breach.
About 5 million pictures being sold on the dark web in 2023.
Meanwhile, in the latest torrent of Epstein documents, Woody Allen and Jess Staley emerge as another grotesque thread in the financier's web of influence. Allen pops up repeatedly in scheduling logs and emails, with Epstein even paying $15,000 for their kids' elite private school tuition. Emails between Woody Allen and Epstein reveal a conversation about cannibalism. Epstein says he didn't just cause heartburn, he ate them. Epstein says hearts. Then Allen says thanks. Allen says, at least I'm thinner. Epstein says, because you also eat the bones, providing fiber. Allen says, I don't like waste. Staley, the former J.P. Morgan rainmaker turned Barclays CEO, exchanged over 1,000 emails, some laced with creepy Disney princess references and young women's photos.
And so the New World Order is in deep trouble. They're basically done. And we should focus on the files we're suppressing. We should focus on the cover-up, but also focus on what we got.
A financial kingpin, a predator banker, and a legendary filmmaker, all orbiting the same twisted world of Jeffrey Epstein. John Bound reporting for InfoWars.
Why are these MFers not in jail? You got proof, straight proof. You got communication. You have, you know, I'm sure the people, the victims also can prove that they were there, because I'm not going for they're all gonna, I guess some of them got paid off and they have I guess actually if they were paid off, but Jeffrey Epstein is apparently dead, supposedly he's dead, then doesn't that kill the, hush money? I don't know. Very interesting. Very interesting. But to think that these people are, they're not even people, these, they're eating babies. So very interesting. Very interesting. I'm making notes because I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at the files and see what I can find out about these people that are in this report and see what I can come up with for the stream for tomorrow, because I think we need arrests and we haven't gotten any. Do you know that all over the world, all these other countries, people are stepping down. They're being arrested. They're being indicted in other countries, but the United States hasn't done anything. They need to start with Letnick. That's the truth. I mean, I guess you have to have proof that he did something besides just hang out. But it's horrible. It's it's the kids, man. Can you leave our kids alone? That's all I'm saying. Leave the fucking kids alone and stop saying that it's a hoax. It's not a hoax. He's explicit because he's covering it up with them. Talk about Trump. It's horrible. Like, you can do all the best, greatest, wonderful things, economy and all that stuff that's out, all these great things, pass a bunch of great laws, do all this wonderful stuff for America. But if you're going to cover up for pedophiles, I have nothing for you. That's where I stand. And I want to say, the good, let's celebrate the wins that we get from Trump and go after him for the things that, are wrong, but I just can't get past the child sex predators. I just can't. Like, yeah. Anyway, let's get into it. Start right here though, because I think this is going to be perfect. Okay, we're going to run out of time here. Running out of time, people. But let's get into it. This is going to lighten it up, right?
Out on the edge of the Milky Way's arm, there's a hard-working man working hard on his farm. The so-called stars, how they play their games. There's a dark little secret that's calling their names. Epstein's Island, hidden away from our view, where the powerful gather, doing what they do. On the spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, there's a parasite sucking the blood of humanity. No one knows when it started, but but it's sure been a while. Out in deep space, paying taxes to pedophiles. Government means to control the mind, but we've lost ours now, and we're sure in a bind. Pay it no mind, just keep on the grind. Working man's blues, paying taxes to pedophiles. From the ranches of New Mexico to the halls of the crown, the web's spinning wider, pulling us down. The truckers on the highway, the miners in the hole, paying for the parties where they sell off their souls. So here's to the fathers, the sons and the kin, breaking their backs just to let the crooks win. Epstein's gone quiet, but the story ain't done. The Lolita's still flying under the sun. Prince and the Pauper, Savile's dark grin, the cloning at Zorro, where the nightmare begins. The working man wonders as he stares at the sky why his hard-earned dollars help the monsters get by. On the spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, there's a parasite sucking the blood of humanity. No one knows when it started, but it's sure been a while. Out in deep space, paying taxes to pedophiles. Pay it no mind, we'll rise up and fight. Working man's anthem in the dead of the night.
Perfect.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett. I woke up this morning thinking about some stuff, and this sort of kind of makes me angry. You know, I hear people saying they're trafficking. Well, we got to get that straight. They're pimps, and when they say trafficking young kids for cross state lines for sex with adults, no, they're not. They're selling these kids to get raped. I think we try to sanitize stuff, you know, in Hollywood, you know, shows the pimp and dressed in the fine clothes and the nice car and, you know, talking tough and all that. And that's all these people are. They're awful, awful, demonic people. And they deserve to burn in hell. And people say, oh, Burchett, you don't want to hang those people. The hell I don't. Bring them out to the farm. We'll take care of them, and I am not kidding you. We've got to start taking this stuff serious in this country, folks. And you know the way the left and I guess we all are guilty of it. Try to sanitize it so it doesn't affect our psyche or our conscience. But stuff's going on right now. It's going on in your community. It's going on in my community. We need to pay attention, and we need to start enforcing our dadgum laws. Quit electing these gutless wimps, and putting these judges in that let these people walk. Quit with all the being able to get out of these things, and they get probation and all this other stuff. All they're going to do is offend again. And the people that are buying these kids to rape are just as guilty or worse than the others. End them all. That's what we've got to do. There's nothing redeemable about these people. Anyway, folks, pray for our country. Pray for all those little kids out there that are lost in this horrible system. We lost over 300,000 during the Biden administration. Thank God for President Trump and Homan. They found, I think, 145,000 of them so far. And that's not in the press. Should be. Shame on the media. Anyway, pray for our country. Thank y'all for sending me here.
Yeah, Tim Burchett. That's who that is. He's a congressman from Tennessee. And that song was from Slave to Liberty, Matt Baker. Wanted to make sure that I, call it, wanted to plug Matt Baker. All right.
In lines of questioning that Jeffrey Epstein was running a intelligence gathering operation. In my professional opinion, I do believe it was a honeypot operation. And I do believe that there's a list of individuals who did engage in trafficking, were given these plea deals, and I'm going to name those individuals right now. The first one would be Leslie Groff. The second one, Sarah Kellen. The third one, Nadia Markova. And the fourth one, Adriana Ross. All of these women engaged in the trafficking of minors as adults. They were working and complicit with Jeffrey Epstein's operation. And in my opinion, they are not to be given victim status because they did partake in harming young girls. I remember seeing in some of the files, some of these girls were, as young as 10, 11 years old and older. And so obviously we have a lot of work to do, but I did want to come and give an update and let you.
All right, folks, I got a little excited about the total implosion of the private corporate satanic New World Order transhumanist death cult in lifetime. And I want to read these new emails that made the head of the unelected world government resign. And it's all about establishing a private corporate world government through the WEF by having the UN sign over control to it. And the emails come from fully 4 years and 5 years before it officially happened. And I said at the time, this is a private corporate world government. And guess what they call it in here? What do you think they call it? CEO of the WEF that 4 years ago was made the official corporate world government. The UN signed an agreement saying it's co-equal with the UN and makes the UN's major decisions. That was a big deal. We covered it. No one cared. We've gone from, there's no world government to, okay, yeah, the WEF is the world government. And then we learned that Jeffrey Epstein's like the head of it because he was David Rockefeller's minion and stood in for him on decisions. And David Rockefeller was the head of the New World Order. On record, set it all up. Now, World Economic Forum and UN signed strategic partnership framework. You read the agreement, co-equal in making decisions. Well, that's what Michael Bloomberg called for 20 years ago. We need technocrats at the WEF to run things. Translation, unelected world government. Just like the EU is unelected, and finally Elon Musk makes a big deal about it, J.D. Vance does. It's the same group. They're just private corporations that get your leaders piecemeal to sign over your sovereignty until you wake up and the unelected EU is killing its political opposition, arresting them, canceling elections, starting World War III with the Ruskies. And I knew Epstein was powerful, and I knew it was on the Trial Commission. Once I saw that Steve Bannon interview, I went and looked it up, and it's actually on record that Epstein basically took over for David Rockefeller decades ago. was given the keys to the kingdom. Just unbelievable. I said he was like a master gopher, air traffic controller, but a maitre d', you know, was kind of the star of the restaurant, but doesn't own it. No, sorry, he kind of did. Man, this Epstein thing is just, it's the Rosetta Stone. Again, they couldn't ever read the hieroglyphs until they found the Rosetta Stone. When they found the Rosetta Stone, it had the code keys, you know, how to decode it, what it meant. And now they can read them easy. And with this, it just validates everything the John Birch Society has been saying for 70 years. I mean, to the letter, the bargain to the letter. Old-fashioned artillery, genius. I don't know why I'm quoting Baron Harkonnen from Dune right now. So I just don't even know what to say at this point. It's like they declassify that the CIA was tasked with coming up to covertly poison the food, water, and drug supply to make us more easily manageable. I've always known that. I've got lots of pieces of other documents, but it's just we have psychotic demons running everything. But the good news is they're falling apart. I mean, what do they know is about to come out? Imagine if we've gotten all this. What? Oh my goody gumdrops. What is it they're hiding?
What are they hiding? I mean, it's pretty bad. I mean, when you think about it, and Alex has been, covering this forever. Pedophile cult, satanic cult. I mean, he's, been covering it forever. And now that you look at it with all the stuff that's came out about Epstein, like I said earlier, it all goes together with all the world government, all the corruption, all the fucking people taking money and bribes and all this stuff, and kids missing, and it all goes together. So Jeffrey Epstein was the head of the the hell's his name? Now I can't think of it. What is it? Rockford? Can't think of it. So the number one head of all this corruption has always been them, and now it comes out that he was the head of it by that interview with Steve Bannon, and no arrests. Zero arrests. They bring Hillary in. Hillary comes in there, and she gets all pissed off because one of the Congress people took a picture of her, and then she got her panties in a bunch. And then Bill came in today. He had some statement that he, like a, opening statement written down, and I guess they published it. And then Alex was reading it today, and it's just like, Hillary had nothing to do with anything, and neither did I, and all this stuff. And you're just like, what the hell's going on? There's hundreds of pictures of Bill and Epstein, hundreds. So anyway, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, and to prove that Alex was right way back then, I have a couple here. I want to do Roger Stone, but first I'm going to do this other Roger Stone first, just for we're just clearing it up for those people that think that Alex Jones is full shit, because they're out there. There's still hundreds of millions of people that think that Alex is, full of shit, or that, he's a Fed, or, whatever. Alex is right. Alex Jones has been right more than, I don't know, I guess more than he's been wrong, but he's got a good track record. And if you think that he's in on it, something wrong with you. You probably need to get checked, check your mental capacity. But Roger Stone on when he was a show host for InfoWars about 7 or 8 years ago. That's what we're going to show right now.
That Steve Bannon, who tried to knife Donald Trump in the back, the faux nationalist, met secretly with the convicted pedophile pimp for the Clintons, Jeffrey Epstein. This was reported by the New York Post. A black SUV pulled up at 7 o'clock in the morning. And believe me, for Steve Bannon to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning after the bender he was on the night before, must have been a big meeting. Sam Nunberg was seen in the SUV, his Sancho Panza. This is a guy who's gone from being a Trump speechwriter and researcher to being Steve Bannon's baggage handler. But the question is, and I'm going to let Jacob take over because I really am running out of steam. Why would somebody who is allegedly a nationalist, somebody who's allegedly against the globalists, somebody who's allegedly pledged his loyalty to the president, meeting with a man who, according to the Miami Herald, only recently was caught trafficking 80 underage children of both sexes to his pedophile buddies around the globe? Why would you meet with such a person? What productive purpose could you have sitting down in the home of such person if you weren't begging for money? So those conservatives, those nationalists, those Trump supporters out there who think Steve Bannon is a good guy, Sloppy Steve is in bed with Jeffrey Epstein. You need to be asking him why.
So, important thing about this meeting, I'm not going to begrudge Mr. Bannon for enjoying a drink or two. God knows I have and will continue to do so. But for me to get up at 7 a.m. or any type of meeting, it's payday. It's payday, 7 a.m. So Steve Bannon is going to this pedophile's haram, this place where he's
the single most largest and single most expensive piece of residential real estate in the borough of Manhattan.
Wow.
Must be quite a house.
Wow. So Mr. Bannon needs to come out and explain why he was at Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile pad, what he was doing there. Mr. Nunberg, as some people have said, was seen going in. We've never seen him come out. We hope that he is well. But Brother Bannon does, in fact, need to explain this because he's in league with a convicted pedophile, somebody who has procured young girls and boys for all of the elites and the globalists around the world. This is literally satanic pedophile army. And for somebody who is a nationalist, somebody who claims to be pro-Trump, pro-MAGA, it's very bizarre and odd to be going. What would motivate any of us to go into that person? There's nothing on this planet.
Would you sit down and have a cocktail with George Soros? I think the answer is no, right? The answer is no.
Well, I might have alternative.
No, but would you go have a breakfast with George Soros? The answer is, of course, no.
Right.
So you have to wonder what's happening. Now, there was a terrific story in the Associated Press because Bannon has tried to represent himself as somehow the master strategist for the nationalist forces in Europe. He met with the Italian conservative leader Salvini. Mm-hmm. Salvini said essentially to the Associated Press that, first of all, he said no gentleman would come to the meeting dressed as Bannon was.
Right.
He described him as slovenly. But secondarily, he said that Bannon's ideas were quaint, but that he really didn't understand Europe. So Europe doesn't need a nationalist strategist, Steve. You're not a strategist, by the way. Steve Bannon has never elected anybody to any office. He plays the game with other people's money. Rebecca and Robert Mercer have reportedly cut him off. He's now stiffing around Epstein for money. What does that tell you? I don't like the feel of it, but I do think, Steve, you can come on InfoWars. You have an open invitation to the War Room. Come on and explain to the Trump community, to the MAGA community, to the Info Warriors, what were you doing with Jeffrey Epstein? We just want to know. You have an open invitation. Come on InfoWars. Explain yourself. We'll be listening.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like that. I'd like to hear that explanation for myself because I was always a big Bannon fan. And to see and to hear and to watch and read all the stuff, like the emails we covered it a couple weeks ago. The emails um, between I write everything down. So write everything down. But I'd like to know. I have a couple different ways to get these emails. One is through the web IO, and the other one is through that jmail.world. All the emails Jeffrey Epstein had, millions of emails, photos, but they're all redacted, and plane records, and or flight records and all that stuff. Have access to all that stuff. So we're going to be doing some looking deep diving and doing some stuff on that in the near future. I just want to know, because Steve Bannon is one of those people that will not say anything, and just hopefully it'll go away like a news cycle. But this isn't going away, and this is pretty bad. I mean, and you know what? He was a very prominent, um, you know, uh, media, you know, head, and it just. I hope that there's a reason, but hey, if you don't come out and say what it is, then I guess you have problems too. Anyway, where are we at? Here, look here. Did the satanic cult? Oh yeah. I know. Back to it. Oh yeah, check this out. Before when I was doing research, I ran across this. This is just to lighten it up a little bit before we get back to Alex, because Alex has something to say from way back when. You got to pay attention to the screen right now. So if you're not paying attention, look at the screen. You tell me what you think or who you think this is.
Gillen? Do I know you? You know Gillen?
No, sorry.
No? I used to order Hello Pizza off for
Oh, really?
shower delivered, yeah.
Oh, sounds nice.
Gillen? Do I know you? You know Gillen?
No, sorry.
No? I used to order Hello Pizza off for
Oh, really?
shower delivered, yeah.
Oh, sounds nice.
One more.
Gillen? Do I know you? You know Gillen?
No, sorry.
No? I used to order Hello Pizza off for
Oh, really?
shower delivered, yeah.
Oh, sounds nice.
Yeah. So, what do you think you just seen there? Let me see if I can pull. I'm gonna try and pull a picture out of this.
No? I used to order Hello Pizza off for order Hello Pizza.
Hard to do it because I'm
I used to order Hello Pizza.
hard to do. It's hard to do. Right, because it's such a
order
vast.
Hello.
What do you think? You think this is Ghislaine Maxwell? What do you think? What do you think? Let's look. What do you think? Is that her? Like her to me. That's pretty trippy though. That somebody run across her.
Pizza off for
Oh, really?
shower delivered, yeah.
Oh, sounds nice.
Anyway. All right, enough fun for that. Let's move on. I'm just trying to put it together here. So Epstein's alive. They shipped Ghislaine. So actually, I should probably try and find those pictures of her. There was pictures of her in jail, and she doesn't look the same. And I get it. Sometimes when people are in jail, their appearance changes from food, more food or different types of food or whatever, different things like that. They blow up or they look a little different. But the story goes, or the conspiracy is that Ghislaine is not even in prison, and Jeffrey Epstein is alive. So that's the conspiracy theory that's going around right now. By the way, I just thought I'd mention that. So I was looking up the Rockefellers, right? And John Burke Society looks like it's a constitutional, because I don't know this stuff. So when I don't know, I got to look it up. Defend the U.S. Constitution since 1958, fighting the shadow war against communism. Join now. That's the John Burke Society. Birch Society. Anyway, so the only way you find out is read. You got to read. Anyway. The only way to find things out is by asking questions. Stand by.
Mainly in key positions, it's pedophiles. And when I get up here and say that pedophile rings are one of the biggest cults or guilds running Washington, that's just what the facts always show. Their favorite thing is starving to death 4-year-olds, begging for mommy. And then they call it using them up. They finally whimper, give up, roll over, and die. They then have sex with the dead bodies, thank Satan, like Jimmy Savile would do, and go out and grab your next child out of the back of your yard. I remembered Ted Gunderson, and I was reading the things he said, quotes in the 80s about there's a shadow government using pedophilia to control and blackmail the population. And it's setting up networks internationally to bring down the United States. And you don't believe me? Fine. Okay, don't check it out. This is all documented. I don't care how horrible it sounds, it's all documented. I've covered it all here 100 times. I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murdering scums that run giant death factories, keeping babies alive, selling their body parts. This was Aleister Crowley stuff. We know pedophile Alan's real, Jeffrey Epstein. We're such self-centered crap that we don't even notice hell itself rising up against us. Mainly in key positions, it's pedophiles. You're thinking, okay, you're taking this out of context. Government loves us. Where do you think the pedophiles go? Because let's admit it, the UN kills hundreds of thousands of kids every year. They get caught all the time. There's 3,500, nothing compared to them. And there's slave brothels and the slave centers and the 1.2 million women they're kidnapping and shipping out of Eastern Europe and Central Europe. And that's mainstream news. I'm sure you might have heard about that. This is all giant UN slave brothels. They've got slave liner ships. That's been in the news. And you don't believe me? Fine. Okay, don't check it out. This is all documented. I don't care how horrible it sounds. It's all documented. I've covered it all here 100 times. We're now hearing about 700 missing in Georgia, thousands missing in California. And the government, no one's held accountable. Okay, we don't know where the kids are. We took them from homes. We don't know where they are. And then I predicted, and rightfully so, there'd be a lot of news articles in Florida. Well, they found some of the kids. And I thought they'd say we found 2,000 of them or something. No, we found 5 of them. And when I get up here and say that pedophile rings are one of the biggest cults or guilds running Washington, that's just what the facts always show. Coming up in the second hour, former state senator John DeCamp, who did write about connections to Penn State and child abuse in the 90s. I had forgotten that he talked about this. Then I saw a Red Dirt report a few days ago with quotes where he'd been talking about it years ago. Just amazing, the massive child abuse network ring at the highest levels of the Republican Party. He was hired as a big Republican in the state of Nebraska to go basically investigate it and cover it up. I mean, They didn't say, hey, it's real, go cover it up. It was, hey, this is a bunch of bull, Senator DeCamp, go prove it's bull. And so the police investigator he hired, the detective, well-known detective, he and his son's plane was blown up when flying to Chicago to investigate. And the rest, there were indictments, there were convictions. The feds swooped in and covered it all up. So you know about the Catholic Church, you know about Penn State. I mean, what about the Texas Youth Commission? All the major youth facilities with gladiatorial fighting, the jail guards selling even 10-year-old children out in the juvenile correctional facilities to police and judges and people coming in and other wealthy who were part of the pervert club, part of the demon club, to have their way with children all over Texas. The Texas Rangers found out and tried to stop it. They got told to back off. The head of the DPS refused to kill the investigation. He was just removed. So the pedophiles rule Texas as well. So they call the shots. And they're everywhere. They like to get into government control because it's the only place they can operate with basically diplomatic immunity like the UN. During 16 years in office, a former state senator, John DeCamp, was cited even by...
We'll cover more of this. You can catch that whole video on my X account. You want to check that out. It's he covers it all the stuff that it's like a compilation of the last 30 years of him talking about the pedophiles and the satanic cult and all that stuff. So it's on my X account. If you're interested in checking that out, you can go over there and watch the whole thing. I can only handle so much, though. You know what I mean? I have to move on, man, because it's too much. So let's talk about Iran war here. We only got a few minutes. I want to make sure that I give it a little bit of attention. We'll cover more of it tomorrow. But Iran, they're talking about bombing this weekend. It hasn't been fully confirmed, but it's been confirmed that they're talking about if they can't come to an agreement today or tomorrow, and they've been in talks for days, that they're going to start bombing Iran. And you know what that's going to do? That's going to turn into a whole bunch of stuff, right? Let's listen to what I'll play these two together. One of them's Secretary of State, and the other one's Kiriakou. And then we'll be right back after that.
I think tomorrow Steve and Jared will be there. I think they're on their way there now, actually. And the president was very clear last night that he always prefers diplomacy. But I want you to everyone should know that Iran poses a very grave threat to the United States and has for a very long time. They are in possession, first and foremost, after their nuclear program was obliterated. They were told not to try to restart it, and here they are. You can see them always trying to rebuild elements of it. They're not enriching right now, but they're trying to get to the point where they ultimately can. The other thing I would point you to, however, is that Iran possesses a very large number of ballistic missiles, particularly short-range ballistic missiles that threaten the United States and our bases in the region and our partners in the region. And all of our bases in the UAE, in Qatar, in Bahrain. And they also possess naval assets that threaten shipping and try to threaten the U.S. Navy. So I want everybody to understand that, and beyond just the nuclear program, they possess these conventional weapons that are solely designed to attack America and attack Americans if they so choose to do so.
We have people at the White House saying, oh my God, there are these demonstrations in Iran and they want the exiled Shah's son to come back and to be the Shah. And it's going to be constitutional democracy, constitutional monarchy, and everybody's going to live happily ever after. No, that's not the case at all. First of all, the Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, which effectively runs the country, has 150,000 people. That's a lot of people with a lot of weapons. Number two, the country is genuinely split. Sure, there are some people who support the MEK. There are some people who are tired of living under these ayatollahs, but there are a lot of people who want to be left alone. I remember in 2003, the night before we invaded Iraq, hearing a senior director at the National Security Center say, as we were wrapping up a meeting, he was picking up his papers to get up and walk out of the conference room. And he said, tomorrow, when we cross the border, they're going to throw flowers at us. And I said to the deputy director of the CIA, these people don't know anything about history. Well, we're seeing exactly the same thing in Iran. They're not going to throw flowers at us. They're going to see us as attackers and invaders, and they're going to unite to protect their country. So if we think that the Iranians are just going to roll over and their government's just going to collapse and the Ayatollah is going to jump on a plane and run to Moscow or wherever, ain't going to happen.
Yeah, so I have another video that I'm going to play parts of it. It's an hour long, but I'm going to just do the breaking news of it. But so that's two sides. You got the United States government talking about if they can't come to an agreement because they don't want them to make missiles or bombs or whatever, and if they can't come to an agreement, which Iran has already said that they're not going to not enrich, they're going to continue to enrich, and I guess what they don't have is they're lacking the igniters or whatever I don't know what they're called. Anyway, I'll do some more research on that. I ran out of time earlier, but let's listen to what Steve Ram's talking about. Breaking news from a couple hours ago. I didn't have time to clip it out because this came out right when I was getting ready to go on live. Hold on. Stand by. All right, let's do it now. Sound check. You can hear me. You can't hear it, but I can. So that tells me that there's something wrong with the system. Sound check.
To potential attacks on U.S. soil. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. It does look like we're going to be heading in the direction of war here very soon. Evacuations are being issued today. I shared with you yesterday, and it was confirmed that Donald Trump was in closed-door meetings deciding what the next steps would be after the talks appeared to yield no type of negotiation, agreement, deal. It looks like we're going to be going the path of strikes and war. Now, I'm going to be playing for you the latest video footage and articles so that way you can see it for yourself. Now, before we dive in, do me a quick favor. If you appreciate the updates, please take a quick second, hit that thumbs up like button for me. Just takes a moment, really helps out the channel a ton, spreads this out further across the YouTube platform. To stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not go ahead and hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. It looks like we could be entering into war here very soon. I will keep you up to speed on everything. And as you know, here on the channel, I cite all of the sources. I put it on the screen, read right from it, so that way you can know and rest assured this is the latest as of today, February 27, 2026. It's currently 1:46 p.m. Central Standard Time here in Houston, Texas. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right in. Start off with some video footage to get you caught up as to what is going on.
You're watching Live Now from Fox. Welcome back. We do want to turn now to some breaking news that came in just a short time ago here. This is a U.S. Embassy Jerusalem post. It reads, on February 27, 2026, the Department of State authorized the departure of non-emergency U.S. government personnel and family members of U.S. government personnel from Mission Israel due to safety risks. In response to security incidents and without advance notice, the U.S. Embassy may further restrict or prohibit U.S. government employees and their family members from traveling to certain areas of Israel, the Old City of Jerusalem, and the West Bank. Persons may wish to consider leaving Israel while commercial flights are available. Once again, this just coming in here a short time ago as the U.S. issues this evacuation advisory in Israel for non-emergency government staff. Now, this coming after Iran and the United States held hours of indirect negotiations just yesterday over Tehran's nuclear program, but walked away without a deal, leaving the danger of another Mideast war on the table as the U.S. has gathered a massive fleet of aircraft and warships in the region. Oman's foreign minister, who mediated the talks in Geneva, said there had been significant progress in the negotiation without elaborating. But just before those talks ended, Iranian state television reported that Tehran was determined to continue enriching uranium, rejected proposals to transfer it abroad, and sought the lifting of international sanctions, indicating it was not prepared to meet President Trump's demands. Trump wants a deal to constrain Iran's nuclear program. Iran also hopes to avert war, but maintains it has the right to enrich uranium and does not want to discuss other issues like its long-range missile program or support for armed groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. We do know that technical talks involving lower-level representatives would continue next week in Vienna, which is the home of the International Atomic Energy Agency. The United Nations atomic watchdog likely would be critical in any deal. To share more on all of this, I do want to turn to one of our Fox News correspondents, Trey Yingst. He has more.
The USS Gerald R. Ford leaving Greece for Middle Eastern waters as the U.S. and Iran tried to reach a deal during a third round of nuclear talks in Switzerland. Iran's foreign ministry indicated progress had been made, saying the two sides discussed proposals over Tehran's nuclear program and sanctions.
Talks held today were very serious. We hope that we can continue the talks over the removal of sanctions and nuclear issues with practical proposals and solutions.
But so far, Iran has refused to talk about its missile program or its support for proxy groups. Last night, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said he has high hopes for diplomacy, but also emphasized the reality when it comes to the Iranian regime.
After their nuclear program was obliterated, they were told not to try to restart it. They're not enriching right now, but they're trying to get to the point where they ultimately can.
In an effort to pressure Tehran into a deal, the U.S. is continuing its military buildup in the region, with about a dozen F-22 fighter jets arriving at an Israeli air base for the first time yesterday, though Democrats are warning the Trump administration that any military action must have congressional approval.
Confronting Iran and halting its nuclear ambitions requires a strategy, clarity, transparency. But thus far, we're getting none of that from the administration.
If the U.S. strikes, Iran has said that American military bases in the region would be considered legitimate targets. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
So, yeah, that's the latest on that. It's heating up. It sounds like we're going to be, sorry about my sound. I got some major thing going on with my sound, so I'll be fixing that tomorrow. But it's weird depending on what screen it's on, it doesn't want to work. So it's just bullshit. I got to fix it. So anyway, Iran talks, they're not going well. They haven't been going well. The United States is telling them what to do, and I wouldn't be taking that either. I mean, you're a country that has another country bombing you constantly, and you're not allowed to enrich uranium for your weapons. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, but I guess it's because they're a terrorist nation. I understand that, but on the other side, they should be able to protect themselves no matter where they're at, right? Or what their thing is. And I guess the concern is that they'll use those weapons that they make on us. And so if we keep them strangled, this is my take on it. If we keep them strangled where they can't, enrich uranium, then we're safer. But yeah, Israel's over there bombing them all the time. So I don't know. It sounds like an Israel thing, another Israel war that we got our hands in. It's ridiculous. I don't know. I don't know that much about it because I try to not know so much about Iran and Israel and all those people, but I guess I need to start digging into this to find out what it really is, because I can listen to other people what they say, but I guess I should just do some research on it and find out what the real thing is. Because is it we're trying to take, what are we trying to take? We're trying to take their oil. What are we doing? What is it really about? What is this whole, because I've heard just blow it all up and just start over. I've heard all kinds of things. And I get that they're a terrorist nation. They're constantly saying death to America. I get that, and I don't want that on our soil. But the other part is, if they're at war with another country, they should be able to protect themselves. I would think. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. And maybe somebody in the comments will tell me what that's about, and I'll do some research between now and the next time we get on here, and see if we can't figure it out. So anyway, that's enough for tonight. I'm over 8 minutes over. God bless you all. Happy Saturday coming up here. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Thank you for being here. God bless you all. Be safe out there. Make sure that you go to My Patriot Supply in the description. Check out My Patriot Supply. Support the channel, please. And we do appreciate all the support that you give us. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.